After college, I worked for a wonderful organization in the Bay Area called Shalom Bayit. The organization's staff and volunteers support survivors of partner abuse and family violence, helping them find shelter, resources, and hope. My role as a community educator took me to synagogue groups and teen events to speak about partner abuse in the Jewish community and lead discussions on what constitutes healthy and unhealthy relationships. We examined how our Jewish values of B'Tselem Elohim and Kvod HaBriot, recognizing our own inherent worth and dignity and that of others, should inform our relationships. Shalom Bayit is a traditional term that means a peaceful home. It's the legal rationale for lighting Shabbat candles rather than sitting in the dark. Seeing the faces of one's partner and family on Shabbat illuminated by candlelight is supposed to create harmony and a peaceful atmosphere. Unfortunately, the term has also been used as a weapon, mostly against women. If a member of a couple, often a woman in certain communities, speaks up about problems, violence, or the threat of violence at home, rabbinic authorities have told her she needs to work harder to create Shalom Bayit. I learned two important lessons during my time at Shalom Bayit. First, the pernicious myth that domestic violence does not occur in the Jewish home persists. The truth is that domestic violence occurs in Jewish families at about the same rate as it does in families of other religions, about 15 to 25%. Women between the ages of 18 to 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner. However, domestic violence is found in every kind of home, regardless of age, socioeconomic status, and education level. Abuse is about one person exerting power and control over another, whether verbally, physically, or emotionally. Some people in this room have survived abuse in childhood or at the hands of an intimate partner or family member. Nationally, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience intimate partner violence. This accounts for 15% of all violent crimes. 1 in 7 children in the United States has experienced abuse. The second lesson I learned is that no one person is responsible for creating Shalom Bayit. We all are. It's our societal responsibility, our moral and sacred duty to support healthy and safe relationships. So if someone shares with you a story of abuse from their past or present, listen and thank them sincerely for sharing it with you. Rather than ask them why questions that can feel accusatory, like, why would you stay in this home or in this relationship? Honor where they are on their journey. Perhaps they have attempted to leave, or perhaps they're thinking about it. We can listen, express love and concern for their well-being and safety, and share resources for counseling like Jewish Family Services Rachel Coalition. We can use our voices to combat the stigma and shame around this topic, especially during the month of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's striking that following the traumatic Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac, in last week's Parashat Chayei Sarah, our Parsha this week, Chayei Sarah, opens with Sarah's death. The proximity in the text between these two events is not lost on the rabbis. Several midrashim explain that Sarah died of the shock of hearing that her son was nearly sacrificed. In the words of Midrash Tanchuma, Kim'at shelo nishchat. In The Beginning of Desire, Reflections on Genesis, Aviva Zornberg translate this phrase as meaning, only a small thing separated him from such a fate. Isaac was nearly put to death. His life was endangered at the hands of his father. He survived, but he will live with the trauma of that experience for years to come. Today, we can see Isaac as a paradigm for all those who suffer abuse from people who are supposed to love and support them. The Midrash also attempts to give voice and presence to Sarah, where there is none in the text. Her absence is unsettling and troubling. In a modern context, we might see her as a member of a household in which violence is occurring who is blind to what's going on, or is unaware and doesn't step in. Or perhaps Sarah represents those who have not yet found a way to speak out and tell their story. Later on in our Parsha, we meet Rebecca, the young woman identified by Abraham's servant Eliezer as the right person to marry Isaac. When her family asks Rebecca if she wants to leave her home and travel to a new land with Abraham's servant, she responds, Elech, I will go. With this simple word, we already see the makings of a very different relationship between a married couple. In this marriage, Rebekah's voice matters. Her consent matters. Her emotional and physical safety will be important to her husband. On a deep level, they'll be united. Later on, the couple will pray together for a child. The text tells us that Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah as his wife. And then it says something surprising. Isaac loved her. Vayinachem Yitzchak acharei imo. And thus he found comfort after his mother's death. Love is a verb seldom used in the Bible in the context of human relationships. So when it is used, it's always very important. Jonathan and David, Jacob and Rachel, and Isaac and Rebekah are the primary biblical examples of love and loyalty between two human beings. In the story of Isaac and Rebekah, we see love as an instrument of healing, bringing comfort in the wake of suffering and loss. In Genesis Rabbah, the Midrash asks, what does it mean when the text says that Rebekah came into Sarah's tent? Why tell us such an apparently trivial detail? It answers, while Sarah was living, a light burned in the tent from one Sabbath eve to the next. There was always blessing in the dough, that is, a miraculous increase of challah, and a cloud rested over the tent as divine protection. But since her death, all these blessings stopped. However, when Rebekah came into her tent, they reappeared. The light, the dough, and the cloud, all these are powerful symbols of the love Isaac and Rebekah shared and the atmosphere that their love created in the home. It was a home lit by the glow of candles, a home that provided abundant nourishment, and a home that offered shelter and protection. We learn from this midrash that loving relationships, not just between couples, should be nourishing and comforting. Our homes should be safe havens for ourselves, and the people who share a home should be sources of light for one another. May we all take on the societal work of building Shalom, Bayit, peace in every home. May we listen to and honor the survivors in our midst. May we educate our children about how to create healthy relationships. And may we pray and work for a day when all people will feel safe in their intimate and family relationships. Shabbat Shalom.